Hello again, Michael Friedberg here from beautiful North Carolina, and today I have two products to review, both thanks to the generosity of others. So let me start first off with the brush. This was sent to me by Graydog. It is a custom boar brush. The wood is bocote, which is a South American wood. You can see it has this beautiful, striking, dark lines of grain in there. The handle is, the wood is beautiful. The handle is really well done. Relatively short, wide base, very easy to hold. The knot is a boar knot, which I had requested. It is a repurposed Proraso brush knot, which I believe is just a rebranded Omega knot. I soaked this for 2 days in some cold water, just water sitting out on the counter. It has softened up dramatically, and I've been using it all week. So far, it's broken in very, very nicely. Loving the brush so far. So thank you very much to Graydog for that. I have two others that he sent, which I'll be using in the upcoming weeks. I'm going to start off with the boar because that was the one that we had originally discussed. Today's soap is going to be also sent to me by a very generous person. This is the Pannacrema Blue. He sent me samples of 3 of them, as well as a 4th soap, which is the Santa Maria. So I've started off with the Pannacrema Blue just because that was the scent of the 3 that I got that struck me at first. I am not going to describe the scent pyramid. It is a host of scents. It starts off with a very distinct citrus scent to me, which lays on top of a kind of an equally distinct kind of incense and Middle Eastern spicy mix on top of what is, to me at least, like warm amber, kind of a nice mellowing tone underneath there. The soap is brown. This is only, I think, about half the sample still left. He sent me 3 very large samples. Each one will easily last a week or more. The scent is quite strong off the soap. This is not a lightly scented soap. This is definitely quite distinct. It just smells really good. It has kind of a light citrusy top, but for me, kind of the primary notes are the middle notes, which is the kind of incensey, spicy, just a beautiful scent. And so I just knew right off the bat for those 3, that's the first one I'm going to go for. Today's razor, which I will assemble before you live on air, is the Fatip Grande. Today's blade is going to be, if I can hold this up the right way, a Gillette Platinum on its 3rd use. When I purchased this, I really wasn't kind of thinking ahead. In fact, I made kind of a boneheaded mistake. I should have gotten the Fatip Piccolo, because then I would have had both handle styles. But as it is, so there is the open comb base plate. As you can see, there is a ring in the base plate for the top of the handle to fit into. But I am still going to include one of the small plastic washers. And that is really the only benefit of the washer, honestly, is that it just prevents any kind of scraping or overly harsh contact between the top of the handle and the bottom of the base plate, and also lets you make sure you've got it good and tight without exerting too much pressure on either ends of the 2 metal pieces. Wonderful razor. Got that into chrome, so I wasn't going to have to watch another one of those razors lose its gunmetal finish. Let me just wet my face again and we'll start lathering up. The first blade this week was a Pulse Silver, the Super Iridium, which also worked very, very well in that razor. All right, let's get the brush going. The soap is only wet because I've sort of rinsed out the previous remaining soap lather. Relatively dry brush. Get this going. As you can see, the brush, I'm not exerting a lot of pressure, but the brush is already splaying, opening up a little bit. It's breaking in really quite nicely. The initial lather, by the way, sometimes is a little bit brown. That's really just due to the color of the soap, but when you actually lather it up, it is always white. I'm going to load good and heavy, which I may regret a little bit because it'll take a while to build, but I'm going to add a bit of water in here. The soap, by the way, is entirely vegetable. I think there's only 5 ingredients. It's vegetable stearic acid, coconut oil, shea butter, calendula extract, and glycerin, and that is it. And one of the selling points for the Nuàvia Pannacrema soaps is that you can basically use it at all 3 stages of the shave. Now, you can use this as a pre-shave, and I think what you do is you get a bit of lather going and you smear that on your face and let it sit to prepare your beard. Then you build a lather, and then when you're done, which I may or may not do at the end of this, is you use the remaining lather as a post-shave. But I will definitely talk about having done that during the week as I've experimented a bit with using it as a post shave. So that is monstrously loaded. Just because I still have so much there, I'm going to put a bit of water on the tip of the brush there, and then we'll start building the lather. In contrast to last week, which was a very expensive but poorly performing soap, Creed. This is still pretty expensive. I think this is 65 to 70 euro, but comes in a hand-painted ceramic dish, which you can see in the opening picture. Beautiful dish, very nice presentation. And I have to say, as expensive as this soap is, based on the performance I've had during the week, I completely understand why people continue to buy this, because it has been absolutely stellar. That is still much too dry. The brush still has a little bit of scrub to it, but that's going to go away very quickly. It splays already pretty easily. All right, that definitely needs more water. So one danger of overloading is that now you've got to work to really build it up. But 2 days of growth. Really let the boar brush do its work on the stubble. Yeah, you can see what's happening. That just needs a little bit more water. You can see that's still a little bit heavy and pasty. Man, there we go. That is very close. You can see what's happening at the bottom of my neck there. Let's do that up top as well. Yeah, really liking the brush. These knots, I think these knots do take some work to break in, unless you sort of use that soaking trick. If you just use them regularly, I think it'll take longer. But I have to tell you that just soak in the water for a couple days, with water up to about, let's say halfway up the knot, that really just simple method and just works. Well, there we go. Now, as I go through this first pass, I will report on the results of the testing that many of you asked me to do with the soap from last week, the Creed Green Irish Tweed, and using synthetic brushes. So let me get this first pass going, and then we'll talk about the test results there. Yeah, the soap is dense. Slick and very nice and protective. Have to say, really been enjoying the combination of this razor and the soap. It's a bit of an aggressive razor, but really not nearly as aggressive, obviously, as the first version. These blades work very well in there. The soap just makes this just such a simple, easy shave. Scent strength on the soap remains pretty evident throughout the shave. Not overpowering, but definitely there. Yeah, so the lathering test results with the synthetic brushes and the Creed. I used 3 different Yaki brushes. The large cashmere, I think there was two 30 millimeter ones. The blonde or the cashmere knot, and then there's the black knot, and then a tuxedo style knot. All 3 definitely did better than the Badger brush I was using. The cashmere in the end, I think, did the best. It created about as creamy, maybe a little bit denser lather than the boar hair brush. They all worked well as the boar, but none of them really kind of made a dramatic difference. And in the end, the lather was really no slicker. It just felt kind of a bit creamier and a bit denser. So sadly, no get out of jail card for the Creed, unfortunately, even with the synthetic brushes. Definitely easier, much easier to lather than with the Badger, but not that much different than the boar. A lot of leftover soap. Very nice residual slickness. All right, I'm going to, wow, I almost dropped the brush in the water because the soap is so slick on the handle. Let me just rinse that off a little bit. I'm just going to add a touch of water to the tips of the brush. Easy first pass. The soap just feels kind of smooth and silky going on. Tips of the brush are still, as I said, a little bit scrubby, but that is not going to last at all, and it has already opened up and become so much more sort of pliant than when I first got it. And many thanks again to Graydog for doing this. It's just quite an unexpected surprise based on a bit of a back and forth about how sort of flexible and easily splayed the tuxedo knots are. All right, there we go. Do not need another super thick layer. This soap is quite slick, so that should be plenty. Yeah, I have to say, I've been very impressed with the soap. Really easy to lather. I think the scents are fantastic. They have a really kind of a strong, distinct personality to them. I love their presentation. Those dishes look fantastic. All right, this is the across the grain. Wow, beautiful. No pressure, just really kind of let the razor and the soap do all the work, just to help the blade along. Nice, very, very nice. Now, I will say that this blade, to me, feels like this will 100% be its last shave. And for some reason, I think in this razor and some of the other more aggressive ones, blades just do not seem to have the same longevity they could in some of the more mild razors. That could just be my imagination, but all right, mustache area. Now there is a tiny bit of overhang, but nothing to worry about. Oh, that soap just makes it so easy. You can see there, I did not have a lot of lather on that part of my mustache, but it's still no problem. Just very light buffing, no real pressure there, because there's still another pass to go. Okay, one more rinse. And then what I'm going to do, just because I have plenty in there, is I'm just going to scoop out that bit of lather. I'm just going to put that onto the brush and hope it doesn't fall off into the sink. There we go, trying to build up a bit of a, you can see still a lot of lather in that brush. Yeah, very, very impressed with the soap. Really been a fantastic week. And the fact that I still have two large samples to go, well, that's, encouraging. Joyful, shall we say. The only question is, when am I going to get to those? Because I still have a number of soaps in the queue. And since I've been on a purchasing hold, I have not bought anything since the beginning of the year, I don't believe. Simply because I will be going to the Maggot Racers meetup at the beginning of June. And so I'm holding off my purchases until we get there and I can sort of go through some things in person, smell some things, hold some things, and just see if they make sense to buy or not. But I hope to return from that with yet another massive influx of products into the shave review queue. All right, the Against the Grain pass. Okay, other side. And again, as I was explaining last time, just sort of adapting the direction of the strokes to kind of meet the hair growth pattern, which is a little bit mixed. Yeah, that blade is done. It's funny how it just abruptly from one stroke to the next, nah, that's finished. This was the first pass. Obviously, I would stop and change the blade up, but I'm so close to being done. The danger here is that because it is dull, in fact, you have an easier chance of nicking yourself. Wow, soap is just really nice. Really, really nice. Spring is in full bore here in North Carolina, which means that there are a number of things that are flowering. And if, like me, you have kind of a tendency to slightly inflamed skin as a result of that, well, then this is the time of year that you just gotta sort of fight through the pain. All right, let's rinse. So the option you have here for the post shave, by the way, which shave is done, like right now, there's a nice layer of slickness because it isn't really completely rinsed yet. But it does rinse relatively clean. It doesn't come off immediately, but it does rinse pretty clean. Now the option you have here is, and I've done this a couple times a week, I'm not going to do it today, but I have done it, is what you would do is you would take the remaining lather from the brush, you'd pull it out, and then you'd sort of spread that on your face lightly and let that sit during your cleanup. And what I found is that that does leave it leaves my skin feeling very soft. It feels very smooth, but over time, I think it's more drying than it should be. So for me, really, at this time of year, what I really should be doing every shave is moisturizing as opposed to using any kind of drying aftershave. But with that said, you don't always do what you should do. At least I know that I don't. I'm going to go for something which I just picked at random from the shelf during the course of the week because it just sort of caught my eye, and that is the Coffee spoons. This is from Storybook Soapworks. This is an alcohol-free aftershave. The coffee scent has not diminished in any way from the last time I used it. And this is, if I can find the ingredients, I think this is witch hazel, aloe, vegetable glycerin. Those are kind of the three key ingredients there. Shake it up. You don't need a lot of this. Just putting in a little bit. And let's end that shave. Oh, it just feels so good. A nice bit of extra slickness from the glycerin. The coffee scent. Still really like the scent on that product. Great combo. And there you go. Wow. So I can definitely recommend that post-shave treatment if you just want to have sort of a soft, supple feel to your skin, but just pay attention to the fact that you may in fact find that actually it might be drying in the end. That's my experience. That may not be true for you. So I love the idea of being able to use it as a pre-shave. That probably works great. I didn't do that this week, but I can imagine just having a bit of soap on your face. As a shave soap, great. Post-shave, I'm not so sure that I would do that, but that's just because of my skin. I found it quite drying in the end, like half an hour later, pretty tight, so I have not continued to do that. All right, let's go through the product set, my friends. Let's start off with, well, it's not the real thing, but at least this will give you an idea. That's the container that it comes in. How cool is that? Beautiful hand-painted ceramic dish. I think the soap is, it's kind of very tacky. It's not a hard soap, but I have a suspicion that it is quite a dense soap. Let's do the products in order. The Pannacrema Nuàvia Blue. What a beautiful, simple soap. It just goes to show that you don't need kind of a piling on of ingredients to make a really fantastic shaving soap. That is really excellent product. It smells fantastic. It is all vegetal, very light on the ingredient list, which is good. It has excellent lather. It's just easy to lather. The lather is just dense and creamy and slick, and just what a turnaround from last week. What a fantastic, just 180 degrees. Smells great, fantastic lather. The post-shave for me, I like that idea of sort of applying the lather after the fact. It did make my skin feel soft at first and certainly very smooth. But for me, as the post-shave went on, I found it to be certainly too dry to continue to do that. That's my skin. It may work differently for you. Otherwise, in every other regard, highly recommending that soap. It is fantastic. I realize it is expensive, but the performance on that soap has been fantastic, and the scent is also extremely good. The brush for today is this boar brush from Graydog with this wonderful bocote wood handle. I absolutely love the grain of this thing. It's got a nice wide short grip, which makes it quite easy to hold. The knot is already breaking in, which not unexpected. It's a nice simple omega knot, and it's easy to break those in with that soaking trick. I love the way this thing looks. I love the way it's just easy to hold. And I, for one, I like the natural wood products. I've had a discussion with a friend recently about the benefits of natural products versus some of the resin or the plastic handles. And the plastic handles, of course, are much more impervious. They're likely going to last longer. But then again, they're also plastic, and they're going to last a lot longer. For me, I'm a big fan of the natural products. I love the wooden handles. I love the fact that there's really no duplicate. No handle's going to look exactly like that. The grain of the wood is just something specific, and it's just unique to that brush. And if done right, makes for an amazing looking product. So Graydog, thank you once again for that. Loving that brush, and the other two will be coming up shortly in the next couple weeks for sure. Today's razor, what a fantastic razor. The Fatip Grande, or go for the Piccolo, which is the, I think the solid, heavier handle. I don't know why it's called Piccolo when it's heavy, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is the chrome version. This is a fantastic, easy to use razor. Yes, it is a bit more aggressive than the Testina Gentile. Yes, you can feel the blade. I don't feel at any point though that the blade is sort of out of control. There's a lot of good edge control. Very easy to use. All brass, should last you forever with proper care. Just don't drop it from a great height onto rocks below. Very, very nice razor. Highly recommended. Fatip, if you are watching, please continue your efforts on the Fatip slant. I'm extremely interested in seeing that. I bet there's going to be a lot of interest in that, and I am quite looking forward to seeing that come to market. Finally, today's alcohol-free aftershave splash, the coffee spoons from Storybook Soapworks. This is just a wonderful smelling, a very light, just a nice witch hazel based aftershave, which works great for my skin. The scent is strong when you first apply it and then lingers in kind of a light way after the fact and just makes my skin feel really good. That was a wonderful shave, and I am hoping that you are getting the same quality shaves as I am for these Sunday reviews. Well, mostly getting for these Sunday reviews. I think that's it. I think we're done. I want to say, as always, thank you again so much for watching these videos. I really appreciate the time you're taking to watch them. Thank you again, as always, so much for the comments and questions. You can, of course, continue to leave comments and questions against this video or any previous video, and I try to get back to those as quickly as I can. Thanks again so much for watching. Appreciate the support and all the generosity. And until next time, goodbye.